I don't know about all of you, but I was so excited to talk about this episode this week. I was really looking forward to Got Something For You. I'm just like, Ollie, this was a fun episode. I don't know how you
Yeah.
felt about it, but when I have my glasses on, I meant to take those off. Boo! Thank you.
We'll start again.
Yeah, right. We got to restart this thing. But it was fun.
Yeah. No, it was a really fun episode. I mean, we got the auction as per usual, so you can never go too wrong with an auction. So
You know what? I think they got a little close. They were pushing some boundaries when it came to this auction.
yeah, I guess you can say that. I don't know. I kind of didn't mind the auction. I feel like there's mechanics I like. There's mechanics I'm like, could be tweaked. But overall, it's an auction.
Yeah, and there were some that just like didn't go anywhere. Like there was stuff that was introduced that like ended up having no consequence. So I mean, we'll get into it. But okay, real quick before I show this first slide, I was telling Ollie off camera that I have like 3 potential winner picks right now at this point in the game, and those are Rachel, and then I think Andy is after Rachel, and then Saul. Just like reading the edit.
Fair. How Stockwatch of you.
It was yeah, I know. Stockwatch was so great yesterday. Definitely go check them out if you haven't yet. But Rachel, this episode for Rachel was just incredible. And this episode for Rachel and for Saul, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, there's definitely like this first part. Before we get to this little interaction, I just want to hint on something it's the most minutest of details, but I just really enjoyed it. When Rachel was alone at the camp and then everyone joined, did you hear the little Marco Polo between her and Kyle?
No.
Oh, God. I found it so just funny because all you heard was Kyle go, Marco. you got Rachel go, Polo.
Well, I'm sure we've heard how dark it is on that beach, especially with no fire. Like I'd be terrified if I was Rachel. Like I do know that there's a camera person with me, so that may make me feel more at ease, but I felt bad that Rachel had no fire to go back to. I don't know. They're able to keep the fire going, I think, but whatever. But I loved that Saul was like, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to connect with Rachel. Do you think Rachel really did know? Because she seemed to, like, when Saul told her, she seemed to be like, I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's just that kind of like innate thing that everyone's always like, oh, I knew it was you, just to like almost make people feel like they don't 100% get the credit. But no, I feel like there was maybe an idea like, oh, it could have been Soul because of X, Y, and Z. But I feel like
all of her Garner tribe members were there.
Like, surely Sierra or Sam, they would have been like, yeah, probably. Andy, not so much, but Sierra and Sam, probably.
But I'm into this working relationship. I think that this is going to be. I hope it's. I hope so. Like we do see, especially later in the episode, knowing what happens. Saul really fights to keep Rachel because he, and to like a good point, he already like won her over by protecting her at this tribal council and giving her that power. So awesome. I like this. I think it's really great. But now the fun part is that we get the bamboo shoots and they're going to go searching through the jungle to find the tubes of cash. This was so much fun.
Yes. So, and this is the part I like about the auction. So, I don't care what anyone says. Sam's confessional was funny to me. Prefer it over Rick Devens, but that's just my personal opinion. I thought this confession was funny, but yeah, I like this twist where you have to go run and find the bamboo because I like that the auction doesn't have this even playing field anymore. I like that it's like, oh, someone could have a little bit more. So it's like, oh, if there is something they really want, they can be like, yep, here's the majority of the money, give me that. I don't mind it. Also, I don't know if we have a picture of it, but one of my favorite parts of this was Genevieve during this segment. Her mantras. It was potato salad. It was chocolate. It was poutine.
Well, because we have to remind viewers what she was doing. She was like convincing herself to run because she was like, I don't like to run. So I'm gonna tell myself what I'm going to purchase at the auction to motivate me. I am obsessed with Genevieve.
Same. I very much love Genevieve. she just has these moments. She's one of those players I like where it's like she does not have to be the commanding voice in the room at all times, but when she comes in, it's like great. Like when she speaks, it's like lovely. We're here for it.
Mm-hmm. I also want that blazer. Every time I see it, I'm like, I want that blazer. But yeah, this was fun. And you know what? Jeff ruffled some feathers like last week or something. Did you hear the rumor that like he was saying that not rumor, but he explicitly said like Survivor 50 was going to be a joyful celebration as opposed to what Winners at War was, which is like a battle. Did you hear this?
Yeah.
And I think that people felt odd about that. Like, I think people didn't want. I think what people got from it was that he was saying it was going to be more lighthearted. But I think it's like stuff like this, like edits like this, where there's just an element of fun to it. We heard from Sierra who mentioned like this is just like an Easter egg hunt. And going back to Sam, I love that he was doing the narration. Which, by the way, Rome, if you were still in there, I have a feeling you would they would ask you to do the narration. But someone who's not having a good time is Andy. I love Andy.
Look. Blind. Just blind. I was like, at first I was like, oh, bless Andy. And then it was like, we see the montage of him walking past like 5 different ones. And I was like,
well, could he have been overwhelmed?
Possibly, yeah. Probably.
And I think as time goes on and you're the only one who hasn't found anything, I don't think that's a fun place to be. And I think, unfortunately, that he got kind of in his head a little bit and maybe was, I don't know, was he like searching too hard or just there was a lack of awareness around what was
blinders. Yeah. I did appreciate though when he went straight to Sierra and was like, I haven't got anything. And he starts walking and then Sierra finds something and runs off.
Oh, and Genevieve did that too. Yeah. And I think did we have a poll question about that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm excited to see the responses there. But so Andy goes in with nothing, which actually in this case is actually a good thing because we get to the auction and it's the same rules that applied in 45, where the person who ends up with the most cash at the end of the auction loses their vote.
Yes.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it as well. I feel like loads of people, like, I know we have hated people losing their votes.
Overall, yes.
Overall, yeah. But I think this, like, because I think in the other ways, it's kind of been like a surprise and kind of a force thing. This one, everyone is kind of aware. Like, everyone knows, okay, if you get the most money at the end, you're losing your vote. And everyone kind of knows that. So it's like, I know people have this whole thing of like, oh, it kind of just makes people like bet everything all at once. But then you're not sat there like waiting to grab something. Like, at least you've got something. I also like the dynamic that Jeff has of first items are all guaranteed and then I'm picking a number. I actually like that because to me that feels fairer because it's like, and Minish, you are late. Yeah.
You know what? No, the party does not start until Minnow shows up. So we're just fashionably early.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the idea of it's like there is a pebble or a stone, whatnot, and that's the number. Like, because then at least like it's again that thing of like everyone's aware, and then he can flip it over and be like, there you go. Not lying. So I like it.
You know what? I think Jeff is really into it too, especially when he would like trick people out and be like, "This is not like." It's like, okay, Jeff.
Oh, his acting was on this time.
There are some episodes where I'm like, "Oh, this is Jeff's Emmy episode." Like, if you don't know already, television shows are only really allowed to submit like one episode as their like Emmy consideration, and like the episode where Jeff stabbed the bag of rice. Like, I felt like that was very much an episode, not this season, this was a different one, where like he was submitting that episode in contention for Emmy nominations. And I feel like this might be on the table for Jeff. So, very fun.
in his
But
let's
talk about
Shakespearean accent.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was I forced that out of my brain. Why did that come up?
I don't know. He was just trying to act. I think he was just trying to act, and it was he was trying to spook out. Oh, what's his name? The annoying one, Gabe. And I think it worked. Sorry, did I say
moving
that
along. Let's talk about some of the notable moments during this auction. One, we have Kyle, who is peer pressured into eating chicken. What happened?
Well, I mean, because I feel like it was that thing of like everyone was like, "Hey, FYI, the vegetarian, the vegan cannot have meat. So if there is meat, I thought what Sam did was fine." Do I feel like he was peer pressured? Yeah, no, but he didn't seem that mad at it. So
no, he made the decision to do it.
Yeah.
So there's that. However, like honestly, if I was in his position, I think I would have just like taken the. It is better than wasting the food, Minnow. I agree. And that I was kind of nervous that was going to happen. That's where I kind of felt like you can, please give it. Okay, wait, sorry. Here's my idea. If Kyle really didn't want to eat the chicken because he's a vegetarian, then he could have. I think Jeff could have given the money back, which still puts Kyle at a disadvantage, right? Okay, you don't want this item. You still have the possibility of losing your vote, and let's see if someone else. It goes to the second highest bidder. And they did give him celery. To Minnow's point here, they did give him celery and carrots, which I would have. I think what I would have done is taken the celery and the carrots and rubbed it on the sauce of the chicken, and that way you have veggies, but in the nice buffalo sauce or barbecue sauce. Like I think that would have been really good.
That's fair.
But yeah, he eats the chicken. This was the thing. This twist when Saul gets this reward. I don't know what their plan was for this. It did not come through, but they have the survivor cash back policy, which I was like, okay, are they setting it up that Saul is going to end up being the one to lose his vote because back, but like it just didn't go anywhere, and I don't think this twist worked out.
So this is one of those moments where I feel like the twist would have worked if, because there was a couple of times where it was like, right, the first person to bid 200 gets this item, and I feel like if those items had that the cash back with a little bit more cash, say like first person to bid 200. And they get like 100 back. It's like they've still got this 100 that actually could affect them more, and have a couple of items that are like the first 200. Then that way, the auction that's still going down slowly, and it's not like the race that people say it is. I feel like that would have been better.
I guess so, but does that defeat the purpose of pulling the chip, or does it enhance it? Like the chip that Jeff pulls that has the number, the amount of
Well, no, because you're still in that worry of, oh, is this going to be what screws me out? Like, it's that risk and reward thing. Do you want this lovely reward and still risk losing a vote?
Minnow says it would have worked for higher amounts of money. I agree. Yeah. To me, though, this just seems so random. Like, it just seemed uninspired is what I will say, in terms of just trying to, like, give someone money so that they're at a disadvantage. It just fell flat for me. I'm not sure. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this twist. They definitely were trying things. And something else that I appreciate that they tried was this idea that you were going to compete. You were going to compete for a breakfast reward. But you had to hand over $200 to compete in this. And the challenge, which, Jeff said it's been a while since we've had like an eating challenge. And I think that this was a test trial, if we must. Yes. I think this was like a little step towards that direction. What do you think of this?
I would have been like Sierra. I would have been like,
Sierra was like, peace out.
Yeah, I'd have been like Sierra.
And did Sierra have her margarita already at this point?
Yes, Sierra had her margarita.
Okay. So she was just like, yeah.
She's like, I'm good. I mean, I would have put money on it because it's the breakfast, and I'd have been like, bacon, yes, please. And I would have then seen the grubs and gone.
But then, wait, okay, did Sierra get her $200 back? Because
yeah,
she did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that part either. I was like, why? Well, I guess it's the disadvantage, and you might still lose your vote. But I was like, you paid to eat the grubs.
Grubs are meant to be nice. And I'm saying that with
like,
my last name.
Like, people pay to eat the fish eyes.
Yeah, but they don't know that's what it was.
They didn't know the grubs were coming.
You know I was here all the time.
No.
For any context, everyone. Yeah, but that's the thing, like with the fish eyes, no one no one knew the fish eyes. Like there was always going to be nasty ones, but we didn't know when they were coming. It was like, again, they knew they were going to have to compete in something. They didn't know what. So
that's on them. I knew going into it. I was like, we're at the auction. It's about getting food rewards mostly. What do you think the challenge is going to be? You know, that was my like. I was hinted at it. Minnow, you've never seen an auction before New Era. They used to have a lot crazier stuff.
Yeah, bat soup.
Oh, bat soup.
Bat soup.
So cozy. But you know, they did this. Sam ended up winning, and then and Rachel even gets a burger. That's the one that I would have gone for. I would have loved to have the burger and fries. But wait, is that a scroll in the French fries? Which I thought this was the best hidden advantage I have seen on this season.
Yep. Again, I think that is great. I like, because we saw it in Australian Survivor with the popcorn. I like that, and I think they should do more of them, even if like they have a couple. This is me wanting chaos. Like, some could be good, some could be bad. That's where I'd be fine with it. That's where they can lose their vote.
Well, you know what no, I'm not going to get into this now because I think it plays into it a little bit later. But I agree with you. I think that this was really cool. And I know that Jeff has made it clear that they are not selling advantages in the auction because people would just wait for the advantages to show up and spend their money on it. However, he never said anything about sneaking them in. And I think that is really cool. And I will say, I saw some people online giving, throwing some shade at Rachel because production, she's gotten the advantages, right? Like Saul gave her the advantage last week so that she was able to leave tribal council and save herself. This week, the scroll showed up in her franchise. But my argument is like, they don't know who's betting on this. Like, it's not like they were like, oh, okay, Rachel bought it. Okay, hold on. Let's just switch the trays real quick. Like, people had their chance to purchase this item, and it was Rachel who ended up with it.
It's Rachel that's got the luck. Build a bridge and get over it.
And Survivor, luck is a huge part of Survivor. So, good job, Rachel. That was awesome.
If you were a fan of the show, you'd know that. Sorry, that was just me being not to you. To the haters.
Oh my God, you're gonna make our subscriber count go. Anyway,
Randy's gonna hate me. Randy's gonna be like, stop being mean.
Yeah. We're the welcoming podcast, like we're like, yeah, let's all have fun with Survivor. This part I actually found very interesting and upsetting from a game perspective because I love Sierra and I think she's a great player, but I think that this was one area that this could have benefited her more. And this is where she wins the chocolate reward. It was very quick, but she chose Caroline and Gabe. It could have been an opportunity to pick Andy. And I'm not sure what the relationship with Andy was here, but it seemed like later in the episode, Sierra was still under the impression that Andy was just a number for her. So this kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier in the season where Gata was trying to bring Andy in to their group, and they were like overly doing it with the cheering for him and stuff like that. I was like, where's that energy again? Because I felt like Andy didn't get any money. Andy couldn't bet on anything. Here's an opportunity to, and it's like chocolate, you know, like it's nothing, whatever. But she didn't pick him. Did you pick up on this? Did you think it was as severe?
No, I did notice it, but we did find it funny, just because it's like, oh, the one person that got no money didn't get this chance. But I do know, because I think one of them two mentioned it in their confessional when they were running, that they hadn't gone on a single reward. So that was probably where Sierra's brain was going. Like, oh, I'm gonna pick two people that haven't had a food reward. And I guess both of them had bad ones also, because Caroline got the fish eyes and that one got the coconut.
Gabe, Ollie.
Gabe. My brain. Gabe got the coconut. So two people that got the bad auctions.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it makes sense. So by that standard, okay, I get it. But according to her, she was like, Andy was going to be a number for her, you know? So like, I felt like it was a good opportunity.
That's fair.
Minnow says, watch the Bryce and Wen panel present. We love Bryce and Wen on this podcast. They are so incredible and so kind. So yeah, definitely check that out. And yeah, luck is definitely a factor. Absolutely. And honestly, I feel like I would need some luck at this immunity challenge, which is like, I don't like this challenge. Well, I love this challenge from a viewer's perspective, but I feel like I would just be terrible at this.
Same. Well, I think I wouldn't win. I'm not sitting there going like I'd win. I'd give it a try, and I think I'd do all right, but my hands get very clammy and sweaty quite quickly, so I'd be like,
Yeah, no, I'd be out pretty quick.
Yeah, I feel like I would try and at least like not be the first one out. I'd be sat there like, let me at least make midway, and then I'll feel content with myself. Especially like 25% of my pre-game starting weight. Oh my god, I'd probably be like, how?
Yeah, at this point in the competition too, and I mean, we saw how quickly people were dropping out. Like this, just I love endurance challenges. I want to do an endurance challenge. This one would not go well for me. Eleanor says, "Hello, Ollie." Hi, Eleanor. Good to see you again. And we have one man and one woman who ends up taking home the individual immunity. And the winners are Sue, and for the third time, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay. Really happy for Sue, especially. You know, I like seeing when I like seasons where like at any episode someone else wins the individual immunity. Good for Kyle. Well, we'll debate if it was actually good for Kyle, but you know, like this, I was happy for Sue. I really was.
Yeah, I mean, like for her, like the fact that she is the oldest woman ever to win individual immunity, I will give her flowers on that. Yeah, for Kyle, it's definitely putting a target on his back. I understand it though, because it's probably like, but I do feel like it is this kind of issue where he now has to win out. Like if he doesn't win, everyone, including his old tribe, are probably going to be like, bye, Gabe. By Kyle, sorry.
We even saw earlier in the episode that like even before the immunity challenge, I forget who, but people were already talking about if Kyle doesn't win, Kyle's got to go. Oh, right. So like Kyle's in a bad position because of this. And you're right. He has to now win everything. And that's it's the toss up when it comes to winning those individual immunity challenges early on.
Yeah.
I feel like two was a lot. Like I feel like he didn't really need to win the last one he won. Or did he? I forget. No.
Yeah, no, he didn't really. Because he knew his name wasn't really out there. It was like obviously the first one where Rome had thrown his name out makes sense. This one I would kind of understand because again, people did kind of look at Kyle, so makes sense. Last round, no one was really saying his name.
And you're right. And I think that no matter what, Rachel was always going to play. Like, let's say Kyle did not have immunity at the one where Tiana ended up going home. No matter what was going to happen, Rachel was always going to play that advantage. It was always going to be the 5 of them. And I think that unless Tiana won immunity, I think Kyle was going to be okay.
Yeah. Same.
So, but he's constantly one, which paints like a huge target on him, and I think that's what we're going to see next week. I don't think he wins next week, by the way, just based on the coming attractions or the scenes from the next episode. Yeah, there was something there, but now we get Andy, who Sierra tells Andy that all right, it's going to be Gabe. Because who does Sierra feel good with again? She thinks
Sam
that she's going with Lavo.
Yeah, okay. Sam, obviously Gata and Lavo.
You know, I didn't realize that there were only 3 Lavo left.
Yeah.
Good for them. They're very present in the edit, so it makes me feel like there's a lot of them.
I feel like it's this thing of like whatever tribe get like in the new era, whatever tribe gets to merge with like the least amount of numbers, they seem to always be in this very pivotal position.
Well, I convinced myself that Gata had the least amount going into it, which is funny because that's just not true.
Did you just forget about Andy?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't forget about Andy. I think I was so focused on the Sam Sierra storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rachel. But it was the Rachel was kind of left out of that edit. I know she was in the group, but within the edit itself, it was very much the Sam, Sierra, Andy storyline. Like, we just have to call a spade. And then it seemed like Rachel was more isolated in her storyline, kind of doing her own thing. And I think, you know, part of that too was not seeing her with the rest of them when they split up into the teams. Like, I think that played a big part in it. And why their story kind of feels so separate from her. So I think that's where I was more so my reasoning for that. But I loved when Andy was like, all right, here's the thing. I'm just a number. So I'm going to have my teen movie glow up and I'm going to take the glasses off. I'm going to shake the hair out. And I am going into my full form. By the way, speaking of stunning, Kyle says, hi, Ollie, you look stunning.
Thank you very much. Today.
Oh, and Eleanor, I love Saul. Yeah, Saul is fantastic.
Saul's going up there for me, yeah. Oh god, yeah. This is what I mean. Like, the editors are doing such a great job with like just creating these like fun little moments. And I think that's going back to your point that you made kind of about season 50 where it's going to be a celebration. I feel like they're already starting this because they're having these moments that are just fun and they're celebrating almost the human, like they're turning these strategic moments that are still strategic, but just giving them a bit of life, giving them a bit of personality to make people enjoy it more. And it's not just this kind of separation of strategy, personality.
Oh yeah, it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, and that's I definitely like, you know, good for Andy. And I think he recognized, okay, so Andy wants to now work with Tuku and Lavo to get out all of his former Gata. I'll just give you a second to respond to this, Ollie. There you go.
Yeah, I'll try. Got so many people. Continue.
But now we have the situation between Lavo, where you're right, Ollie, they are the sort of in the middle of these two tribe dynamics, which is very interesting and good for them. But they each want a different person from Gata out. And I like this aspect of things. Like, I like each of them had very clear reasons why. I think Teeny wanted to keep Sierra. Genevieve wanted to keep Sam. And Rome wanted to keep Rachel.
Yes. Ooh. It just... And what I found really funny was at one point during the episode, and it wasn't from even like all of I think Genevieve might have been one of the people to say it, but like at some point during the episode, each one of those 3 garter people, so Sam, Sierra, and Rachel, got called the head of the garter snake. And I found it so funny because you especially heard, like, I think Sam and Sierra's one was happening during pre-tribal, because I think it was Caroline. I think she said that Sam or Sierra were like the head of the garter snake. Then someone else said the other one was the head of the garter snake. And I found it really funny because I was just like, so who really is the head of the garter snake here, since everyone thinks that at least one of them is?
Yeah, I also didn't. I mean, obviously, like I'm playing from my couch, like we always say, but I was like, I don't really see like a snake, like I see like they all. There's pros and cons to voting each one of those players out because I think each one has shown different strengths to their game. So it's kind of a coin flip. And I like Eleanor's note here. Eleanor thinks that Saul kept that vote off Rachel, and we just didn't get to see it. Yeah, and I think what helps in this situation is that Rachel wasn't a part of a duo, and Sam and Sierra. It's so easy to say, "Oh, are we really going to keep this duo in? Like they're always going to vote together." And so I think by splitting them up, I think that's the argument they went into tribal with, which is why no votes landed on Rachel.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it would have been an easier pitch to say, look, Rachel is on her own. Rachel is already this perceived threat that everyone thinks.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this one person here, but you've got this you've got this pair that everyone is perceiving as a voting blocker 2. So why are you going to keep a voting blocker 2 in? So I can understand people's logics there when they want to do that. I was very scared though for my draft for the entire rest of the episode.
Well, there's risk involved. Roxzilla says, I love this Saul Rachel secret duo. Roxzilla, which by the way, great name. Yeah, the Saul Rachel secret duo, I hope takes them both far. I really want them both at final tribal council. Danielle says, hello. Hi, Danielle. My voice cracked a little bit anyway.
Little voice crack.
With that, why don't we pause on this incredibly beautiful shot, which I actually found very funny. Let's take a quick break so I can take a sip of water. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about Gata.
Hi, Survivor Now podcast listeners. I am Katie from KT Designs, better known as Katie Tedesco Art on both Instagram and Etsy. I have been designing and selling Survivor products for over 7 years at my Etsy shop, including replicas like hidden immunity idols and Survivor trading cards with all of the players' stats on the back. I am so grateful for Survivor Now for giving me this shout out and helping me reach even more superfans. I love listening to their podcast. So if you are looking for some really unique reality TV products for yourself or to give a superfan in your life, come check out my Etsy shop at www.etsy.com/shop/KatieTedescoArt.com.
I know, Minnow. I'm usually so much better at tossing it to commercial. I didn't think we were at this part of the show yet. And yeah, we do have such an active chat, which by the way, I just want to take a moment to just appreciate all of you for being here. We always say this, but you're all very much like our co-hosts. Like we sometimes, Minnow especially, we sometimes throw it to you for questions, but we love having you all active and in our chat. So thank you for being here and spending this time with us. So Rachel is starting to get weird vibes. And I'm like, yeah, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on. So great for picking up on this. And okay, so Rachel gets occluded the hidden immunity idol. Gotta talk about that. And you know what my favorite part about this was, Ollie?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part about this was that it was actually a hidden immunity idol, which I feel like we have not had in such a long time.
Yeah, it was it takes me back to the first season we ever spoke about together. Second Chances, where obviously like there was an idol hidden in the shelter. And I liked it because it is kind of that thing of like you have to like you kind of do have to be really risk some exposure here to get that. And I think she did it really well. And I think how she did it, I just loved the entire scene anyway. And And I think it really did showcase how good of a player Rachel is. And I think a lot of people weren't expecting it because she didn't really get the loudest edit. Like, she got episode 1, she had a lot. And then kind of pre-merge, it was a little bit here or there. And now all of a sudden we're kind of getting this redemption arc, which I really like to see. But yeah, I'm just happy it was Rachel.
I was too. I'm not gonna lie, and I think the whole time I was like, which production assistant had to sneak into their camp during tribal council and sew a hidden immunity? I think it was hidden the last tribal council that they were at, because they're all the way from camp. The one before
they could have done it during the auction.
They could have done it during the auction. Yeah, I guess they could have done it during the auction. But like, someone had to go in there, cut open the tarp, put the immunity idol in the corner, and sew it up. Is that what happened? I love that.
Or was it kind of because I know it was, you saw the sewing on the one thing. It could have been like the pouch was sewn, so it was there, but you had to kind of undo the stitching to get the idol. I don't know, but either way, it was great.
Either way, it was awesome. And I thought, what a clever twist. I'm not sure if we've seen that. All right. So it looks like we all say that, or you all say that it's in the auction. So, all right. Very cool. Either way, it was really great hiding spot. Minnow, you just started watching Second Chances. That was, like Ollie said, that was our first podcast that we did together. So if you want, we still have it up on YouTube. You can see our thoughts on that channel and also see little Ollie and little Matthew just trying to figure this all out.
I love the fact you say little. How tall are you again?
6 foot.
Little.
Who's taller between us? Yeah, I figured. Okay, yeah, but you also wear the platform shoes sometimes, so
it just makes you taller.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so let's see. Sorry, I want to make sure we're not missing anything in the chat, but yeah, I think we're good to move on here. But she finds it, she gets it, and good for her.
Yes.
But Rachel's not done. She makes, in my opinion, a brilliant move at Tribal Council.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not expecting it. Ollie, when Jeff asked if anyone wants to play a hidden immunity idol, and she said Jeff, I thought she was going to play her idol.
Yeah, same.
Did you all think that too? Because that's what the vibe was giving me. But when she said she played her shot in the dark, I was like,
At first I was like, why have you played your shot in the dark? And then I clocked her, and I was like, you bloody mastermind. Because she did it to understand everyone's view, to see how everyone was reacting.
yes.
Because if there was big reactions and she then got not safe, she was like, idol, thank you very much. So yeah, that in itself, like, if she gets to final tribal council, she has this way to say, I played my shot in the dark, not because I 100% think I needed to, but I wanted to use it as a way to understand how everyone felt about it. And if I saw reactions that didn't make me feel comfortable, like, oh no, that wasn't meant to happen, then I'm going to play my idol. So, well done. Just well done.
And the icing on the cake is now it makes people more likely to think that Rachel does not have an advantage.
Yes.
Which is always a good thing.
Just another bloody layer.
Another layer in this. And I feel like, some viewers might say, well, you just explained it, Ollie. Like, you just explained why this was a genius move. And it's so subtle, but so powerful. And I think that is, even if she didn't realize what she was doing in the moment, but I do think she did. Yeah, she definitely. But it was just really, really good. So she plays it. She's not safe. And then this is where we see the votes land on Sam and Sierra, and a couple on Gabe.
One on Gabe.
It was only one
Gabe because Sam lost his vote, so couldn't vote. Rachel played her shot in the dark, so then couldn't play her shot in the dark. Well, couldn't vote, and then Sierra was the only one that voted for Gabe. And then there was this really interesting dynamic, which I'm unsure of.
Wait, before you go into that, I like Ellen. Oh, so this is Eleanor. This is what you meant by she didn't have to vote wrong either, because she ended up not having a vote. Okay, that got it. Some people might also be able to give her more info if they know she's shot in the dark less. Oh, they don't need to be as wary about blind. Minnow, excellent point. Excellent.
And she thought about all of these things as well.
Rachel's my winner pick. Sorry, I want it to happen so bad.
Yeah.
But Andy's also doing a really good job, and I think this was a smart move to get rid of either Sam or Sierra. I do, just for his game.
I think so. Personally, I think if he got rid of Sam, it would have been worse for him. I'm not saying saving Sam will help him.
I agree with that.
Because I think Sam is about to turn around and give him a middle finger and a stab in the back as well. But I feel like if he kept Sierra, the only reason Sierra was really wanting to work with Andy was because of Sam. Sam gone, Sierra would have turned around, beeped him, and then been like, cool, who's going for Andy?
But I do think that Andy was aware that he had a better working relationship with Sam overall, because they had the whole storytelling in the beginning where they sort of were like Sam was kind of building a relationship with Andy on the side of things. And, you know, I do think it was the smarter move to get Sierra out. I was very sad to see Sierra go. But I do. Eleanor says, interesting. I am nervous that Caroline saw Rachel put something in her pocket. I thought so too, actually. And I was nervous, but I think Rachel did a good job at like doing like an adjustment that it really did look like some sort of clothing adjustment. But I'm not too worried, but it's always a concern.
But I think had she not like played anything, that's when Caroline would have been like, I saw her do something. Was it like, maybe it was an idol? But because obviously she used something and it was her shot in the dark, it probably would put Caroline, I feel like, is one of those players. First of all, I love how much of a cheerleader Caroline is to everyone. It's like she's walking past, her and Sue are walking past. Sue finds a scroll. Go Sue!
Yeah.
Sue, Caroline, and Genevieve are talking, and Genevieve is putting the seeds of doubt. That was my plan. Go on, girl! I was like, I love how you are a cheerleader for everyone. Like, it's just hilarious to me. But back to my point, I feel like Caroline is one of those people where, not that she takes everything at face value, but she probably saw that, and then because she saw the shot in the dark, that's what she's going to take away. She's not going to think of anything else. That's what I think. And I feel like she will be the type to go, no, it was a shot in the dark. No,
I agree with that.
Shot in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Minnow says, Caroline always be like, yes, slay, amazing, look at you. I want to watch RuPaul's Drag Race with Caroline. I think that would be so much fun. And we all need a Caroline in our lives. Like, let's be real. Like, that's a true friend. And unfortunately, the votes tie between Sam and Sierra. But we have an interesting dilemma here, Ollie, because Sam lost his vote.
Yeah.
So that means that their votes can't cancel out, which means that Sierra is eligible to vote.
Which slightly confused me.
Oh, totally, me too.
But at first I kind of got it. And then, funny enough, this was Twitter that actually reminded me that the same thing happened in another season. The vote tied for 3 people. I don't want to spoil it for people. Redemption Island.
I'm not. Yeah.
And no one's gonna watch that season. That's fine.
Don't say who, but you know.
No, the vote tied between people, but similar to this situation, there wouldn't have been a cancelling out, but they couldn't re-vote. So that's where I think my logic at first, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I do kind of get it because Sam couldn't vote and da-da-da. But then also I was kind of sat there like, when this was brought to my attention, I was like, okay, no, I do kind of feel like that's a bit weird because there's probably been instances like this before. I feel like I'd need to look back at every single like revote and be like, okay, did this make sense? Did this one make sense? Did this one make sense? Do you get what I'm saying?
No, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Sorry, you were just giving me that normal look you give me of shut up.
No, I'm trying to process what like my thoughts are in response to this, because I'm going back and forth, Ollie. Like, you know, like that's where like I was like you, where I was like, oh, okay, I understand why that would be the case. But then I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, to be completely honest. And you know, it ended up not even really being that interesting, you know. So it ended up not mattering. But you know, there could be a situation in later seasons, or perhaps later on in this season, where that might. Let me see. Hold on. Production always rigging. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Eleanor. You are
not the words.
Eleanor, I think that production does have a responsibility to create a television show. Like, yes. I do think that is an element in there, and they do have to put the contestants in situations to, I don't want to say get a reaction, because that sounds like messy to me, but they are trying to make good TV, you know?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm usually calm, collected. I'm graceful. But did it? Oh, Minnow, this really did not go on well for you. Yeah,
I agree with this, because I like, and I think Minos agrees. Like, where some things maybe don't align in the past, it's like, okay, I think they just need to explain, even if it's on fire or somewhere else. They just need to give us the full context, and even if it's Jeff explaining it.
Yeah, I know. It does kind of feel like I don't like when rules feel like they're evolving as we're playing the game.
Yes.
And that's what I kind of felt like this felt like. But anyway, not to spend too much time on it, but I'm glad we talked about it. And I think we all kind of feel about it. Yeah. But Sierra is the only one to vote Sam, and everyone else votes her out. And she officially becomes the first member of the jury. Yay!
At least she made jury.
You know what? And I met Sierra, had such a wonderful conversation with her. Like I've said, this whole entire cast is so nice, but I'm just going to remember our conversation. She's incredible, and I'm happy that she was able to make it this far. And you know what? The good thing about being the first is that you're the first to enjoy Ponderosa, you know, and I don't want to be the last person voted out. That to me is the worst, because you are right. You're so close to the end, and then you are only at Ponderosa for one night. So
yeah,
I don't know. I
feel like she will now be the mayor of Ponderosa, which slay queen.
What a time.
And I think it will be a really interesting she'll be an interesting one to have, because she will be this person where with Garter, she kind of has an idea. Tuku have been Tuku. So I feel like as the season progresses, and if Tuku do still make it further, it's going to be interesting. And it could turn out to be the case where there is a Tuku at the end, almost wins. And the reason they don't win is because of Sierra and them just being too Tuku. I don't know. That's just a theory.
We've seen stranger things happen. You know, and to Eleanor's point here, she's not going to stop playing. Agreed. You know, so there we go. It's going to be a very important vote.
Yeah, I agree, because I think people always underestimate the first few jurors, and I think people always kind of just assume just because they're out early, they're gonna vote for whoever they were close with at that time. And I think people underestimate the jury management of the early jurors. So I'm hoping people can clock that, you know, I may have not had a strong game relationship with Sierra, but I'm going to try and make sure that even though she's on the jury and I'm here, I can somehow win her vote.
Oh, I like how Minnow put this. They're the ones with the least firsthand but most secondhand information by the final tribal council, and that's a pretty cool place to be. I mean, you all know my feelings on this. If you've been watching our show for a long time, my whole thing is if I ever was lucky enough to make the jury stage, I don't want to I don't want to sign over $1 million to someone else. Like that's gonna absolutely break my heart. So like my whole thing is I'd rather get out earlier, which is weird to say, but if I make it to jury, I need to make it to the end. Otherwise, I'm gonna be absolutely devastated. Which I feel like it should be.
Nah, I'll happily make jury if I need to.
Oh, you think it's gonna be easy for you to write someone's name to win?
I'm gonna make them earn it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, I would love to hear your final tribal council speech, Ollie.
I'd just be sassy. Someone on that final 3 probably would have tipped me off, and I've been like, right, before I be diplomatic, let me just shade you quickly, and then I will be reasonable.
Wait, JB asks, oh, hi JB, welcome. Who do you think is our next? Oh, you mean our next out? Let's see.
Possibly,
who do you think is gonna be our next out?
Ooh, Kyle.
Oh, if Kyle doesn't win immunity, I think it's gonna be Kyle.
Yeah, I think they're probably gonna set us up for this, like go against each other, and then all of like the mediator people are gonna sit there and be like, well, we want this chaos to continue. Take Kyle out, and this can continue, and we can still stay safe. So I feel like they're gonna go for Kyle if he doesn't win.
And I do think that the edit has shown us more substantial connections forming across a wider array of players that Kyle does not fall into, unfortunately. So, I do think if Kyle doesn't win, he's out. However, wait, speaking of, Ollie, you were talking about jury and being ticked off. Why don't we transition into one of our favorite segments and one of our only segments, but the tribe has posted, if I can find the video to go along.
The tribe has posted.
Here it is. Oh yeah, or Gabe. Yeah. Kyle or Gabe.
Oh, I'd love that.
Yes, Amy, I know you're a Kyle fan. So for you, Amy, I'm hoping that Kyle, and I'm a Kyle fan too. But I do hope that he finds immunity. Just for you, Amy. Just for you.
Yeah. But I also do agree with Eleanor's point. Gabe is going to tank his own game at some point. It might just be at Final Tribal.
Yeah, and I saw Gabe as a winner early on, but I think as things sort of, I think I foresee a downward trajectory, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I said this on Stockwatch last week because I was happy and less enough to do Stockwatch last week. I said from the first episode, I knew Gabe was not winning because of how he spoke about people. So I was like, So I just see it more and more, and my brain can't say
But we've seen villains win.
Yeah. We've also seen certain villains lose, and that's the certain villain I feel like he's trying to be. So.
Oh, okay. I know, Eleanor. Listen, it was what was the episode? It was the first time that Tuku went to tribal council, and who was voted out? Oh, TK. TK was voted out, and I thought that the relationship between Sue, Gabe, and Caroline was going to be more substantial than it actually ended up being.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway, tribe has posted.
Tribe has posted. Lead us through this, Ollie.
What did I put? Oh yeah, so I remembered what I posted. So this was a cute little thing I found. So for those of you that don't know, I stalk everyone's social medias. I don't care. And this was a cute little thing I saw because I feel like you could tell throughout the episode, Teenie was very much wanting to try and save Sierra. And part of me thinks that this little interaction that happened, first of all, Sierra's glare. Chef's kiss. But I love that there's no bad blood. And we love that. We love that when people vote each other off, there is no hard feelings. And you don't talk about their state. So well done. And we love this relationship.
And I think what this does show, you know, like obviously the cast cannot talk about the, you know, what happens on the season, but it is interesting to see who has better connections than others, right? Like that's why we stalk the social media pages. So it's fascinating. Next up,
we have just a couple of tweets. We have Annika. I wouldn't have flipped on her. This is why I love Annika. You knew she was going to have the final little say. They are good. Can confirm they are good.
But you, what?
That Sierra and Annika, they are good.
Okay, got it. I see your point now. I mean, listen, Annika shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, like we don't actually know what you would have done, but I do like that you got your little dig in there.
Yeah. Oh, I think fully. Like I know this is a little dig, but I also agree. And then a fun little fact from Teeny during the auction that they really wanted to take each other's items. And it reminds me of the meme, and I think it actually got sent to Teeny, and it's of a lady. She has a bowl of broccoli, and then she's got like a giant bar of chocolate, and the meme is her sniffing the chocolate and then eating a broccoli. Sniffing. That was what this tweet was giving me. There is a little sub conversation on this tweet somewhere on Twitter X. Go find it.
Amy, I love this point here. If they realize it's just a game and aren't bitter, there's so much fun to be had at gatherings and events after the game to enjoy with everyone. I think that is so spot on. So spot on. Especially, you know, like we I've been fortunate enough to go to a lot of Survivor events for this season, and there's so much love there from the fans too. Like that's the positive stuff coming out of this season. So I agree. It's just a game. I mean, $1 million is a lot at stake, but it is at the end of the day just a game. And then we have, I love how everyone's crushing on Teeny in our chat.
I know.
Love it. Then we have Sam. I didn't understand the last tweet, Ollie.
I just found it. I think it was the reason I showed this tweet was because it was, part of me thinks it's foreshadowing. Survive in advance, find a way. I feel like it could just be him being like, I managed to survive, and now I'm going to find a way to keep going. Because I think a lot of people have written Sam off as this like eighth place boot. Can't speak, sorry. But I think now because he has lost his closest ally, he has a lot more avenues than I think people realize. And it's like, you wanted to go for Rachel because she's this big threat. You want to now go for Sam because he's this big threat. They're just one person. People are now going to look at people like Tuku, who are a strong 3-4-3. They could even look at Lavo and Andy as a strong core now. So I feel like this was a little bit of foreshadowing from Sam. And also Sam saying they've got to cut off the head.
I'm like, Sam, don't flatter yourself too much. I mean, I do think Sam's doing great. I do. But I think that just plays into my part, my point from earlier, where it's like they're all strong in their own individual selves. So,
yeah. Also, I don't think we have this. Do we have the Dalton Ross tweet? I don't think we do.
No, I don't. Sorry, it didn't make it in.
No, you're fine.
Go ahead.
I will just discuss this. So, for anyone that doesn't know Dalton Ross, he does a lot with Survivor. You will always see his exit interviews. So, for anyone that does not know this, he talked about the margarita curse. So, fun fact, the last 4 people to win the margarita at auction got voted off that same episode. So, you had Sierra this time. You had Kelly 45. You had Jen in Survivor 30, and then it all started with Jeffra in 28. So if you see in an auction, you see them win a margarita.
I'm also trying to think if it's happened on AU as well, but I don't remember. I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head either.
Oh, they had chicken parma.
That is wild. There is a margarita curse. Like, that's confirmed.
We had
Jeffra.
Not Jeffra. Unfortunately, yes, Jeffra. because it's kind of almost become the new age car curse. Do we remember the car curse?
Oh, absolutely. Every time someone would win a car in a challenge, they would get voted out.
Or they just
or just wouldn't win.
Yeah, they wouldn't win. I think that literally got broken.
You're right, Minnow. Sorry, I just wanted to validate that point.
Yeah. Sorry, Jan as well. Sorry, we're not erasing Jan. So well, it's Thailand. It's the one season I didn't watch. But yeah, my brain goes to the car curse being broken by someone, but I can't think of who it was. I think it was an AU person.
Well,
I think
Mark made it to the end, but Mark didn't win.
Mark Wales.
Titan versus Rebels.
Oh, that Mark. No, he didn't win. Oh, maybe not then. Trust me, I'm not a fake fan.
Oh, wait, I read it first before seeing who it was.
Thanks, Rob.
Anyway, take us through the polls, Ollie.
Yes. So, reminder for anyone that doesn't know, on X, we post some polls, 3 questions that we love for you guys to answer. So, remember on a Thursday around midday Eastern, keep an eye on the polls. They are open all the way until today. They close about a few hours before we stream. So the first poll I want to believe is, would you have given Andy some money for the auction? And it was pretty close.
Yeah, that's a good split.
Yeah. I would have been on the 52%. So where would you have gone?
I would not have, but I absolutely would have picked him for the chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely would have done that.
I feel like if like everyone was like, okay, here's like this amount of money. Like if everyone gave him like $20, I'd have been like, okay, here's $20.
Well, I don't think that they could give each other the actual money that was in the shoots, but you would have to give him a bamboo shoot.
That makes sense. I would have given him a bamboo shoot then. I'd have been like someone else.
Wait,
Sierra, Gabe, you've got enough.
Wait, to Eleanor's point also, it could be strategy because they know that there's going to be the lose your vote thing.
Yeah.
So like if I was against Andy, that's a good opportunity. Give him a really small amount of money where he could not possibly outbid anyone for an item so that he's left with the most amount.
See, our brains.
Eleanor's brain.
Eleanor's brain, yes. Okay, so the next poll was, would you have eaten the grubs for the breakfast auction item? 67%, absolutely not. I am very much in the boat with this one. I would have seen them and been like, thank you very much. I love bacon. I don't love those though.
I couldn't do it. Well, would you have done it because it's your name?
This is the reason I put it was the bacon and the sausages and the well, it's blueberry pancake, but the bacon and the sausages, I'd have been like, oh, that just looks really
nice. There are some things that I think I would be okay to try. I don't think that I would try it. I would give it a try if I already bet on the item. Like I don't even like breakfast foods that much, so well, I don't know. It would depend on what the item was.
Yeah.
And Darren says they would give Andy some money on the sly and ask him not to tell anyone. Yeah, slip him a bamboo shoot. You know.
Yeah, I think it was the fact that they were alive. I was like, no, I can't do it. No.
I would feel pretty bad about that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, you still have so much life to live, little grub.
Little. Okay, and our final poll before you put it up.
Oh,
you put it up.
Dang, sorry.
It's all right. It was, who is the true head of the garter snake? And all 4 people were listed: Sam, Sierra, Andy, and Rachel. And I found the results actually slightly interesting.
I did too. Here.
Sierra. My vote was in Andy's. I'm going to openly admit, my vote was going to Andy for this one.
That's like to me, it's Rachel. You know, like that's where it's like,
Mm.
I don't know. I'm this goes back to my other point. I think they're all great players in their own way, and I don't really see like a leader of the group, if that makes sense. And that's
Yeah.
what I get from Head of the Snake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with Darren. I don't really think there even is a head.
Agreed. I know.
But it was just the thing that everyone was saying on the island. It's funny. It's funny when you can tell like what the castaways are talking about with each other, because they all start using the same vernacular and the same language to describe something. So to hear Head of the Snake and so many people's confessionals, I'm like, y'all were talking about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I think is
like I said, there was like literally so many confessionals this episode alone of who was the head of the God Snake. That's why I had to put this one on, because it was a topic of conversation for many.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you did. And this was actually really, really cool to see outline like this. So remember, like Ollie mentioned, the polls are on X, or the polls are on Twitter. So make sure after the episodes that you check us out on Twitter to see those polls, and then you can participate. We have so much coming up on Survivor now. As always, we got to go through the calendar. We have our Patreon, which is a great way for you to support the channel and get other live streams, things like that. We also have merch, which I hear are very comfortable sweatshirts. I have not gotten mine yet, but they look very cozy. You can also, like I said, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Survivor Now Podcast on Instagram, at Survivor Now Pod on Twitter. We are also on Spotify, but then you won't be able to see our beautiful faces, but definitely go take a listen to us. Great for a road trip, something like that. But, Ollie, we made it through the auction episode. It was a great time. Any final thoughts?
No. I'm just excited to see how this season is going to go down. I'm rooting for the people I'm rooting for.
With that, we are going to end the episode here. Thank you all so much again for joining us. What an amazing chat room you all were. And as always, we just really appreciate you spending your Saturdays with us. We will be back next week to discuss episode 9. I agree with this. And we are... I think this speaks for itself. So have a great rest of your weekend, everyone, and we will see you next time.